Hello everyone, I'm here to do a review, okay? I'm here to show you what's in this box and show you what's in this box. I got the Bandai Millennium Falcon last night, actually today. Here is the Revel Millennium Falcon. They're both Force Awakens models. So let's take a look at what's in the box, let's see what's here, and let's get going with it, shall we? I'm going to move the camera over, as soon as I can figure out how to stop the camera. There it is. And let's open the boxes. Okay, first up is going to be the Revel kit. It is a snap kit. It's a build and play kit. Okay, it's age 6 and up. There's no age on the the Bandai kit. You know, and you can tell this is bought in the United States because there's plastic sealing the box. In Japan, they don't seal the box because, you know, you're expected to open and inspect the contents before you buy. Whereas here, well, some not nice person will steal what's in the box. Now, we're pulling this out, and I'm going to pull the Fine Molds Falcon in a second so we can take a look. One of the things that concerns me about Millennium Falcons, and this has been this way for quite some time, is the thickness of the sidewalls. The old AMT kit, NPC AMT kit, boy, it had some thick sidewalls. They were way, way, way off base. And you know, I'm really afraid that our Falcon's going to suffer from the same thing here. Not sure of that. Here's the sound brick. Okay, the sound brick goes in here. That's upside down. That's why it won't fit. The sound brick goes in here like this. Okay, and if I pull this out, it does light up. Nice sound effects. Okay, this one has lights. The X-Wing did not. Here is the rear light up thing. It's rubbery. It's a really rubbery plastic. Okay, and you put it back in here. I don't even see how that. I see. It's got a little slot it slides into here and here. So it sits there. You put this in there like thus. You will be able to change your batteries later. There it went. Now, one thing about this, it did come with lighting, right? But you're going to have hot spots. There's just not enough LEDs to eliminate the hot spots. So the lighting is not so good. It's subpar. The sound seems to be okay, though. Can't knock them for the sound. Let's look at the pre-paint. There's no chipping on there. You know, no weathering. But you can have the weathering yourself. That's not hard to do. Okay. Detail. Well, along here, you know, these are supposed to be separate panels. They're kind of okay. We have piping. The piping looks like where I would expect on a Millennium Falcon, having half-built one. Yeah, I know. Notice that phrase there. Half-built one. I really should finish that sometime soon. Here's the underside. It looks like it has the landing gear on it. The little insert wells are there. Okay. Looks like it'll snap together really well. Here's the extra bag of parts, and it has landing feet. And those are big, beefy landing feet, alright. If everyone can see them, there's one of the landing feet. Really big and beefy. Color doesn't look to be too bad to my eye. Having looked at a lot of photos of the Falcons, the guns are no good. That's definitely no good. But I've seen people cut them off with a razor saw and then bend them up. They look much better that way. Yeah, I would recast that in clear resin and paint it. Same thing with that cockpit. Wow. There is no clear on there whatsoever. This is the only clear part on there so they could light the back. I don't really want to open the bag because, you know, I don't want to lose any of the parts. But let's open the parts. You can see what I mean. You take a little razor saw, cut it across the bottom right there, and bend it up. It wouldn't look too bad. It would help it a lot. Like I said with the X-Wing, you can do a lot to make this better. Okay? Weathering and a few other things, and it would look better. The detail isn't so bad. The Revel's definitely getting better with this thing. But I can't help feeling like some of this detail back here is made up. Mainly because I've looked at the photos of the Falcon. Now, this may not be the same Falcon. This detail may be different because it's the Force Awakens. And that's in part why we're about to open the Bandai kit. I want to see what it looks like. But before I open the Bandai kit, let me get the fine molds over here. And I want to pull something from the fine molds. Here's half of the fine molds kit. Okay? Now, if you look at the back halves of them, one, they're almost the same scale. I put that on top of there. This thing's probably 1/44 scale. Look how close that lines up on top of the fine molds kit. Okay? Lines up fairly well. Look at the detail on the back of the fine molds kit. You can see Bandai was trying to imitate it some. Instead of the tank wheel tread right here, you get a round circle. These three things here, well, not three, four things. There's the four things there. Okay. Yeah, this definitely has better detail. The old fine molds kit does. Definitely has better detail. Has a lot more parts too. You look in the box, you can see a lot more parts. And the sidewalls aren't too thick in the fine molds kit. That's one thing they did well on the fine molds kit. And the guns have 4 barrels, it looks like, on the fine molds kit. And it has a cockpit with a glass canopy right there. But then again, this was never meant to be a snap kit. This was meant to be a glue and paint kit. So the fine molds kit really isn't the same thing. I'm just showing you the lack of detail. Now, one thing about this, would it hurt Revel to spend some time and put the detail on there? Would it hurt them to put the detail on here? No. It's more time and money than they were willing to spend to get the detail on the back of this right. Okay? They could have done that. Even a kid would appreciate a much more detailed thing. It would look less like a toy if they put up the detail just a little bit back here. Now, they're doing fairly good with the sides and the piping up in here. But when I remember the Falcon, the piping, well, it's not quite the same. Okay? The sidewalls aren't very thick. That's always one of the problems I've had with a lot of the models. If you get their larger snap-together model, that sidewall is huge thick. You know, it's like 2 or 3 times bigger than this. So they are working towards making a better product. That's a lot thinner than what they've done in the past on the Falcon. So this thing's going to look somewhat okay. They could just step this up a notch, is what I'm saying. And it wouldn't hurt them. They get more people like me wanting to buy them, instead of buying them for a review. Now, here comes the fun one. And you'll see what I mean by fun one in a second. I'm going to get the fine molds kit where I can grab it real easily too, so we can look at the differences and see if we can spot anything new with the Force Awakens kits. So I'm going to pull the camera back because this is a monster box. And it is 1/44 scale. It looks like the Revel kit is 1/44 scale. So they're the exact same scale, size kit. That's where the similarities end. Because I have one sprue here with clear. All the clear parts are clear like supposed to be. We have this back piece right here which is clear. Okay. we have 1, 2, 3, 4 people. I'll have to look at the directions, see there's more. We have some very fine molding work here. This reminds me of the Y-Wing. I'm not going to take this one out of the bag. So what I'm going to do is set the box aside, put it down, and let's zoom the camera in so we can take a better look. I don't want to take this out of the bag. I don't want to take any chance of breaking any of that. You look at it, it's very, very fine. Very, very intricate. I'll have to look at the directions and see what any of that's for. Okay? So let's set sprue A aside. We got sprue B1 and sprue B2. There's the canopy. Now look at the sides of the canopy. It is not thick at all. Those are very thin. Very, very thin. Okay? And again, we have some very small detail work in here. Very fine detail work on the molding. Okay? Very fine detail work. Turn it over. There's one of the end plugs. There's the engines. If you don't want to light it, they gave you an optional insert. You wanted to be crazy, you could drill every single one of those out. That would be crazy. But you don't have to light it. They gave you parts so you don't. Or you could just mold those in clear resin and get better than that blue strip on sprue 1. And there's our cockpit. Now, oh wow. I don't know if you guys can see that, if the camera's going to focus on it. I'm going to have to hold it pretty steady. Look at the seats. They tried to mold the seats the way they were in the movie. There's my sidewall thickness. Now, the only thing I have on the Revel kit that's easy to compare the sidewall thickness is that blue part that runs across the back of it. And I seem to have misplaced that. All of a sudden, well, that's lovely. You know, I didn't. There it is. Here's the Revel sidewall thickness. That's going to be comparable. They're about the same. Okay? They're about the same. It's just the Revel kit's not going to have that kind of detail on it. Just not. Let's bring it over and take a look at the sidewalls. The sidewalls on the Revel kit, they really tried to do decent amount of detail. I gotta admit they tried. I don't know if any of it's right. There's experts out there who could tell me far better, but I know they tried, which is saying something because they usually don't try. Not very much anyhow. But when you compare that to this, there's no comparison at all. There just isn't. Okay? Very, very intricately detailed there. Now, this is the part that got me. There's the bottom of the ship. The mandibles aren't there. There's the top. Look, they put the fan ducts in. Everyone see that? And if I were to tilt this a little bit and you guys can see some of that detail. I don't want to open any of this. I don't want this scratched or anything, because it's just beautiful. And look at the piping on the front of that. It's very, very well done compared to that other one. They even have the wiring going from the radar dish. I remember that wiring because I did those on the Falcon I was building out of brass before I stopped. Speaking of mandibles, there's the mandibles. And the little circular inserts have very intricate piping in them. Again. There's the cockpit tube with the track going around outside the cockpit tube. The top of this is very, very detailed. Very detailed. I see why this guy's a little bit on the pricey side. Look at the pipes going down inside there. Look how small those are. You can see my big old finger right there. You push on that, you're going to break those. And that's why I don't want to open it, because it's good the way it is. And here's the part you would use if you're going to light the interior, light the engines. There's one of the guns. It has its landing gear. It looks like all the fins on the back of the engine are right there, and they are. All the little actuators for actuating the flaps on the engine are there. Something I didn't look at. Oh yeah, they did. The edges of the armor plate are supposed to be notched. And I was working on the Falcon the last time I had it out, about a year ago, because just life has been that way. You can see it if I get the light just right, that they notched the edges of these plates. Okay? Like they were supposed to. And when you can see it really well right here. If it'll focus on me instead of the background down there. You can see it. And putting the mandibles in the way they are, it's going to look like separate parts, and it's supposed to look like separate parts. Okay? And turning this over again, wow, the detail they put into this thing is huge. I don't know how many parts it has, but it has a large number of parts. And here is Star Wars Base 10. And at the bottom, we have our decals and our stickers. The decals are ribbed to go along the edges of the armor. And the stickers. And then we get the book for directions. Okay? I'll pull the camera back just a little bit so we can see them. And it shows you the parts map. It tells you how to remove parts. I notice it doesn't say anything about removing really delicate little parts. Okay? It's giving me some warnings up here about being careful and to not pinch things. I think. I don't speak Japanese, so I'm not sure what that says up across the top. You put the cockpit together first. I expect to see some monstrous builds out of this thing before too long. Some people getting in there just lighting and doing all sorts of stuff with it because it has a full interior for the cockpit. And then you start putting all these little circles together and inserting them in there, so you have all this fine little detail in there. And some of the fine detail goes on the outside of the walls too. You put the mandibles together first, and then you glue the mandibles to the bottom with the tube. Well, don't glue, you snap them. It looks like it even has an interior, a gunwale. Looks like it has a gunwale. More inserts, more sidewalls. Okay. And there more detail work on the inserts once you put the inserts on for the sidewalls. It's telling you got an option here on how to light it. Not lighting it. I know they sell an optional lighting kit for this model. You can buy their lighting kit. I wouldn't. I'm going to buy my own. See, here's where it's talking about the optional lighting kit. Because it doesn't come with that. I would have seen that if I'd been looking for it. Definitely does not come with that kit. Okay. And it's talking about how to light it in here. And it has holes pre-made for the LEDs. It's nice to see the holes are already there for the LEDs. So if I want to light it myself, and you're not seeing what I'm pointing at, it's showing right here to put these parts in here if you want to add light to your model in certain areas. And I don't know what that is. This will be fun to try to figure some of this out, what all this means. Here we're putting the other gunwale together. then we're putting things back on there, and it comes with screens to go over the top of those. I never saw those screens. What are they? Could it be those? Decals? You put a decal over that? Ah, there they are. They're right there. Okay. Interesting. You put a part over a part to hide detail. I suspect they knew someone's going to come out with photo etch brass parts on this thing before too long. And I suspect any 1/44 fine molds photo etch will fit it, because I bet they're the same size. We'll look in a second. Okay? Moving on to the next step, there's more about lighting with LEDs here, getting the LEDs into the cockpit, how to wire it all up. If you have the lighting kit, and then we get to the base, and we get to the landing gear if you want to build it with landing gear, and apparently it does have the landing ramp. Yep, it does have the landing ramp. And the back page, of course, is the paint color guide. And it has Chewbacca, probably Han Solo, this guy, and this girl, and BB-8. So it has one of each figure, except for BB-8, standing and sitting. So you can put them next to it, or you can put them in it. That's already more spoilers about the movie than I want to know, that it comes with all those figures. Okay? So I hope you guys are enjoying the look at this thing. I'm floored by it. I did not expect this out of Bandai. I did not expect that level of detail. Now, let me get the fine molds kit real quick, because I want to compare something. Fine molds kit is supposedly 1/44 scale. It says so on the box. Bandai kit is supposedly 1/44 scale. I don't think so. One of these two scales is not right. The Bandai kit's definitely a bigger kit. They're centered on each other. You can't even see the fine molds that way. But you can see the Bandai kit around the outside of the fine molds. They're not the same scale. But I think the box for Bandai says 1/44. Let's look. Yep. They both say the same scale. Now, the Revel kit and the fine molds kit are the same scale. This one is not. Okay? So no, I'm wrong. Any photo etch kit you get for the fine molds kit is not going to work on the Bandai kit. Not at all. You're going to have one just for the Bandai kit. No way around that one. Okay? As for detail, well, right there you can see the difference in the detail. Bandai is beating fine molds. But we already know that happens quite often. Not always, though. Fine molds have made some really nice kits. If you got the fine molds kit, I wouldn't poo-poo it, and I wouldn't go looking for the Bandai kit just and throw away the fine molds kit. It's not a bad kit. I never found the radar dish. We'll look for that real quick, because that's one of the things I wanted to see. I may have seen the radar dish and not known that was it. That's one other thing, too. Well, I found the landing ramp, but I don't see the radar dish anywhere. There's the landing ramp. I'm not going to worry about it too much. Unless the radar dish is one of these, which that doesn't make any sense. It could be. Because those are identical sprue. They're both labeled Fs. So it could be. I'm going to look for it real quick because it's got me bugged. I never saw it. It'll be one of the last steps here. It It's E2, part E2. So it's on, yeah, there it is, right there. There's a radar dish. Huh. Interesting. It has some really interesting piping that goes over the top of it. Let me show you real quick, and I gotta go. I shouldn't even have made this video tonight. It's right there. That goes over the top of it. Okay? But anyhow, I am impressed with this Bandai offering. It is supreme. Maybe I should have gotten out the Fine Mold's 1/72nd kit and compared those two. Now, I'm not going to compare this with that kit for one reason. I can tell by looking at these photos, right, the box art right along here, that has different detail than the earlier versions of the Falcon. So they're not going to be the same. Besides, what is that thing? I don't remember that on the Falcon. I don't remember that on there at all. So it's not going to be, yeah, and that over there. There's one there and one there. I don't remember those on the Falcon. Okay? In fact, if we look at the Fine Molds kit, okay, maybe I am seeing things because they're on the Fine Molds kit. They're not on the AMT Ertl kit. That's what it is. Interesting. Anyhow, I'm done with this. This has been too long of a video. I need to get to bed. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hello, everyone. This is take 47. This has been a wonderfully lovely evening, and I've been starting over for 28 minutes. Oh, I'm going crazy. What am I doing here? I don't know what I'm doing here.